Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Scott. Today's episode is about cooking off grid. When you decide to build a tiny house and live off grid, everything kind of becomes a challenge, especially cooking. Since I'm solar powered, I can't have an oven, stuff like that. I have an oven, but it's a really small one and it uses a lot of electricity and it kills my batteries. So it's kind of a special occasion when I use that. And I have a perfectly good fire pit to cook over. And I have to say, I will never go back to propane or charcoal after cooking meat over wood. The wood adds so much flavor. And I actually really enjoy to cook. It's kind of therapy for me because you've got a bunch of different things going on. You know, you can't really focus on the BS that happened that day. You're just focused about your timing. And yeah, it just helps me check out for a little bit. It's kind of like a drug to me. Self-medicate through cooking. And the reason I got into cooking was my mom. Come to find out, she's a genius. Being a full-time single dad, it's hard to think of stuff to make for dinner every night. Any parent who makes dinner knows that. It's hard. And so what my mom did, she made my sisters and I pick 2 nights a week, because I have 2 older sisters, and we had to decide what we wanted to make for dinner that night. So when she went grocery shopping every 2 weeks, she knew what to buy. And I she made me do this since I was like 9 years old. I hated it at the time, but I'm grateful for it now. And I remember asking her, I was probably 9 years old, "Why are you making me do this, Mom?" She said, "If you never meet a woman who can cook, at least you can feed yourself." And thank God she did, because Xavier and I would starve or eat really unhealthy. So, yeah. And the hardest part about cooking the way I do is in the winter, because it gets really cold where I live. Like right now, it is 8 a.m., about 8 a.m., and it's 17 degrees outside. Colder than shit. So, yeah. A lot of people think, I don't know, some people think I'm crazy for what I did, and some people think I figured it out. I think it's somewhere in the middle of the two. I just, about 3 years ago, I kind of had a midlife crisis. I'm 41, and I was living in a beautiful home in a resort town. I was a block away from the river. My neighbors were all vacation rentals, so I had like a couple day long neighbors. Met a lot of interesting people. But I was busting my ass at a job I really didn't like to pay for a house and utilities in a home that I was barely in, and when I was there I was asleep most of the time. And we spend more time with our coworkers than we do our family. And in my opinion, that's not what God intended. He wants me to raise my son. He doesn't want the state to. So I had this crazy idea. I'd never seen the show, the Tiny House show, but I heard about it, and so I spent about a month, and I did all this research on building code and what it would take to like be as self-sufficient as I possibly could. And so I sent my son to live with my mom at the beach for 2 months, which was the hardest part because I had never been away from my kid for more than 24 hours, which is crazy, but I have now. But anyways, that was tough. I lived in a 13-foot scamp travel trailer for 2 months while I made it livable. And then that winter, I worked on the inside. So my plan was, by the end of the summer though, to put it on a flat deck and go get lost in the woods and teach my kid how to be self-sufficient, because kids nowadays don't know how to be self-sufficient. They don't know how to take care of themselves. The sense of entitlement drives me crazy. We're not entitled to shit. We're entitled to survive. That's it. So yeah, that's how I cook and decided to live off grid. Thanks for tuning in.